folks that kind of knew what this could become, but
Mm-hmm.
all of them dismissed it as a one-off, as a fluke, as it never gonna succeed, as it never gonna get any bigger. Just like with the internet, it's just a fling. It's just a stupid thing. And what happened was, underneath their noses of the most powerful people in the world, the central banks. I call it the central banking cartel. Basically, the central banks. The Bank of Europe, Federal Reserve, and so forth. Bank of England. And then the Federal Reserve and so forth. They essentially knew we allowed it. They kind of knew it was coming, but they allowed it to happen because they literally let it slip through their fingers, through their own ego. They were like, no, this is never going to happen. And now they can't stop it. It's like literally trying to shut off the internet. You can't do this in first world countries. You can't shut off the internet. And if you tried, it doesn't matter because the internet is on somewhere other part of the world. Like you'd have to nuke the planet with an asteroid. And then of course, at that point, you're not going to want Bitcoin. You're going to want bullets and booze, pretty much. That's going to be the currency. Bullets and booze if we go to post-apocalyptic. You won't have to worry about Bitcoin. Because a lot of gold bugs, they like to say that. They're like, yeah, but with no electricity, I can't use Bitcoin. Yeah, with no electricity, the civilization dies as well.
Let me ask you something. So, like, because I've been reading up on Bitcoin and like, and you know how they mine it.
Yes.
Like, so, like, how profitable is that? And like, because I know like people will buy those rigs, but I don't think people like me myself. Like, I look at it and I see like you can look on eBay and they say they have a pre-made rig or something for you, like for X amount of dollars or whatever. Like, but like, is that like, what's that going to do? Like for like, number one, my electricity bill, you know, when you really think about it at the end of the day. Number two, like, cause I've heard these things are like really fucking loud. And you know, if that's the case. And then number three, like, how do you fix it if something goes wrong? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know anything about like mining?
So I believe I believe Bry addressed something like this in the last episode. Essentially, for the average person, mining is pretty much a non-starter. Like you're going to need $100+ grand of a venture to start up, just to buy the equipment to make any type of profit within the next 3 to 5 years, and you need access to cheaper free electricity.
Okay.
And so I can tell you what some people are doing right now. In America, some people are using natural gas. They're literally using natural gas to power the Bitcoin miners to mine Bitcoin. So they're making money from nothing, essentially from air, right? Like you gotta pay for all the equipment and everything, you know what I'm saying? But they're basically like, essentially make printing money because they take the natural gas and that burns, and then they use that money to, or they use that energy to run the Bitcoin miners, and the Bitcoin miners produce the Bitcoin. But remember, those things that I'm talking about are at scale. So we're talking multi-$100,000 operations and type, just for on the small end. The larger ends, of course, in the millions and millions. So essentially, for your average person, mining is kind of out. You could do some like cloud mining stuff if you want to, and just like pay a monthly fee and get a little coin to which is like renting a miner, but you don't want to do that. Unfortunately, mining for the average person is pretty much out unless you really do want to go at it at the industrial level. Other than that, it's out of the retail level at this point.
So all those things, like I saw, what's this thing? It said it was called like a crypto browser or something like that. Like it's like I didn't really have a chance to like look to it, but I know it was saying something like where you could basically, I don't know, you use this browser and it mines or something like that, or they use your connection in order to help mine.
There were some browser plugins, there was some software, and essentially, sure, you can mine, but you're going to be making less than pennies. The percentages and stuff that you're getting out is literally like it'll show 0.00000 penny amount of like money. So it just very, very really low. It just unfortunately just like put that money in the savings. Just buy Bitcoin. That's literally it's so funny how many things people have tried to do to make profit from their Bitcoin over the years, from starting mining companies to starting business to starting all these different things, and every time it would have been more profitable just to keep the coin. Even Coinbase. Coinbase is one of the rare exceptions. That company actually grew faster than Bitcoin. So if you invested in that company, you technically made more there than you would have if you held Bitcoin. But for the average regular person, like 99.9% of the people, if you just hold Bitcoin, you will have far more gains than you ever trying to mess with all this crazy stuff like mining and software and all this crazy stuff. For the average person, all you got, that's what's so beautiful about Bitcoin. It's so simple. It's so simple that none of my family and none of my friends bought any. Nobody I know, like in my immediate personal family, personal circles, bought Bitcoin, even though I was screaming it and shouting at the rooftops for 7 years straight. With a podcast, 5+ years, like I was at the top of my, after it went to a certain price, I essentially had to leave because it's out of the hands of the regular person other than just using it as a savings account, which is still good, still really, really good. It's just that now it's like, well, you just have to use it as a savings account, where before you could make generational wealth. There was a little bit of a gap, as Bryce said, I think in the last episode, there was a little bit of 5-year gap where you could make generational wealth. That's pretty much the average person. You're like me and you, regular person, could make generational wealth during that 5 years. That's pretty much gone. But you can still save your money now and still over time have more value than you did before. So while everybody else's savings are going down, yours are going up. So let's say you put like $100 a month away, right, for 3 to 5 years. You might not have $1 million, but you might have some life-changing money that you could start a business with.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Makes sense.
Yep. So the generational wealth, that's pretty much gone for the average person, but the big guys are still doing that. They can still make plenty of wealth by buying. So there's somebody named Michael Saylor. He's kind of the champion of using Bitcoin for your corporate treasury, and his company bought $500 million worth of Bitcoin when it was $10,000. He is now the darling of Wall Street right now. Because he was, even though we've been shouting at, like me, nobody listens to me, right? But we've been shouting for 10 years. But Michael Saylor was the first person in the actual upper echelons to start pushing Bitcoin, and he is now the darling of Wall Street. Like everybody's trying to get interviews with him because now that 500 million is almost $4 billion.
Jesus.
He is now a multi-billionaire, from 500 million to a multi-billionaire in less than a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's because he bought right at the beginning of the bull market, right at the beginning of the next bull market. That's what happened. So, and again, how the cycles go is it goes a bull, then it corrects, and then goes consolidates, and then bull again. So you can never, ever, ever lose in Bitcoin. Right. You can never, ever lose, ever. Literally, you could just buy the tops. Just buy the $20 top, the $120 top, the $1,200 top, and the $20,000 top. All of those tops are now in profit. The $58,000 top will be in profit at some point as well. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I heard that 50 Cent when Bitcoin came out, 50 Cent invested tons in Bitcoin, and that
Dude, he sold an album for Bitcoin.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
An album for Bitcoin. I didn't marketed that. Oh my God, he made so much Bitcoin from that album because Bitcoin was like,
wait, what album? Like, which album he sold for Bitcoin?
It was literally like only $100 of Bitcoin at the time. Like Bitcoin was a couple $100 at the time, and that dude raked in thousands and thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. Like he could be more profitable than Jay-Z. He could literally be more profitable than anybody. If he actually disclosed how much Bitcoin he had. He's probably more profitable.
He'll never let you know that. He'll never.
Yeah. It is absolutely insane. And of course, as you can imagine, like the IRS is kind of having a field day. They now need you to actually check off a thing on your taxes if you ever owned or bought cryptocurrency, just so they can have a record of it. But that it's that system is definitely going to die. It's been dying a slow death. But like I say, the whole system after March of last year is pretty much broken, and now we have to let it die, and that's going to be painful for a lot of people. But that's why I just tried to spread the word about Bitcoin, because anybody who's holding Bitcoin is going to be okay, relatively.
What other coin? What other crypto do you think is going to do well?
So so Bitcoin is the internet of money. Bitcoin is the actual the best form of money we've ever had in the last 10,000 years. It's a digital gold. So there's no other coin that's going to try to take that use case. That is literally, Bitcoin competes with central banks, gold, and basically the hegemony of central banks. So that's the main thing you have to save it. Then on top of that, there's 10,000s and thousands of other crypto, and most of them are pretty much penny stocks. Most of them are going to go away. So I've been in the crypto long enough for the past 7-8 years. Damn, it's coming on 10 years now, almost 10 years, that I can tell you, I've seen the top 10 of coinmarketcap.com change a lot. right? The top 10, there's always a new coin in the top 10 that claims it's going to be the next Bitcoin or the next big thing, the next big thing. So right now, the top 10, there's things like Polkadot, there's things like, Cardano, there's things that won't be there in a few more years. And so really, like, I can never and have never ever advised anybody to ever purchase anything other than Bitcoin, because anything other than Bitcoin, you're gambling. You're gambling. It's like the stock market. Ethereum is probably now at this point more safe, but even then, everything about Ethereum can be put on Bitcoin. And there's already like a dozen Ethereum clones or competitors out there. So long term, I can't say it's going to be okay for Ethereum long term. The only thing I can say it's going to be okay for long term is Bitcoin. There's literally nothing that can stop that. No government, no bank, no country. Because for example, even if, like, let's say China tried to ban it, right? They banned it like a couple of times. Every time they banned it, it went up thousands of dollars. Like there's nothing that you could ever do. Like, and of course now they're accepting it again. So like, like anybody who tries to ban Bitcoin that'll only be short-lived, and then they'll eventually start saying Bitcoin is okay, because they know that any country that doesn't have Bitcoin is going to lose this decade. They're going to lose economically this decade. Because remember, countries are like companies.
Yeah.
They really are like companies. They got their CEO, they got their finance guys, everybody, and they're all trying to jostle with each other as well, just like companies are in the open market. And it's just a little bit different scale. But they're going to need Bitcoin just as much as the corporate treasury, just as much as you and me, just as much as everybody else. And so if you try to take away Bitcoin or you try to ban Bitcoin, another country will take that bet, and they'll say, "Come on over to Bitcoin."
Oh yeah.
China banned Bitcoin. Malta said, "Come on, Bitcoiners, come on over." And half the exchanges left China for Malta. And they're still there to this day. Binance, that's where Binance is to this day, is in Malta. So anytime a country ever tries to threaten a ban, doesn't really matter. They'll eventually accept it again, because it's like trying to ban the internet. It's like trying to ban electricity. This is literally the electricity of money. Like this is the foundations of the next 1,000 years of our civilization is this new form of money, because we've had the same problem for 10,000 years. Humans keep messing up the money, right? We want what's best for us in the long term, but somewhere down the line, whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 years, somebody gets greedy and messes with the money, and the whole system folds. And so this has been a long term problem, and we've actually now solved it with Bitcoin, this 10,000 plus year old problem. So when you're asking me about other currency, about other crypto, I'm like, it's gambling. They're penny stocks. Unfortunately, like I wish I could say that these things are going to change the world, because there's so many people that are like crypto and blockchain, and we're going to put bananas on the blockchain. We're going to save the world. We're going to save Africa. And it's like, guys, no. These are just penny stocks, companies just trying to build on top of the thing that is Bitcoin. Whether it's not, even if it's not directly connected. For example, like Ethereum, it's not directly connected to Bitcoin, right? But it is in Bitcoin's gravity, because Bitcoin is the sun, and all the planets around it are all the other crypto. Anytime Bitcoin goes up, crypto will go up. Bitcoin goes down, crypto goes down. So that is the center of the universe is Bitcoin. So when you ask about other cryptos, kind of like asking about, like I say, like just other little moons, little penny stocks that really don't affect the average everyday person like Bitcoin will.
Okay.
So Bitcoin's like prime Earth, and then all the other ones are like the multi-universe, pocket universes.
Absolutely. We will be sending Bitcoin to Mars and to the moon. I can guarantee it. Just like we send communication, because remember what the internet did for communication, right? It democratized information, and it cut out the fat. Bitcoin will do for finance. It's going to cut out the middlemen and cut out the fat and optimize it, because it's faster, better, and cheaper. And so when we start, when we have a Bitcoin world, the technologies we're going to create is going to be pretty amazing. And we will definitely need to be able to send Bitcoin interdimensionally, interplanetary, intergalactically, all that good stuff.
Could you tell us about NFTs? Because we saw earlier, Illmind, Sample Pack. Shout out to Cypha Omni and DragonFlyBry. Bry got something in the works with an NFT and some music or something. He told me to, mention, but not too much detail. But so what could you tell us about NFTs? Because I'm totally lost.
So for those who don't know, NFTs stands for non-fungible tokens, and they are essentially contracts. You can think of them like almost like smart contracts, but you can just think of them as a contract that holds information that is tied to the blockchain. And so what that means is that what it actually does is it takes a regular digital item, like for example, a photo, and
Mhm.
it will create a signature of that and store it on the blockchain so that you can know that this photo came from this location and that there is no other photo technically like this photo with this exact digital footprint. And so what that ends up meaning is that you can actually create digital scarcity. So before, when you could copy a photo 1,000 times, doesn't matter. But now when you can make a unique photo and then resell that, the rights to that photo, that's what NFTs allow you to do. Is it allows you to create a digital scarcity, digitally scarce items in a digital world, scarce items in a digital universe. And what that looks like right now is mostly like collectibles, images, kind of like cards, baseball cards, almost like back in the day. And but what's really where it's becoming really interesting now is when the upper echelons of people get involved, like people like Illmind. So now the big guys are getting involved in NFTs. And for example, there was some pretty good art that was selling for a lot of money, but when you attached an artist to it, when you attached an artist to that art, saying that they have a signature on it or they have a song that you get with this that's tied to this, when you put the artist on top of this art, for example, like a musician artist, boom, now that art is selling for mad amounts of money. Like we're talking millions of dollars. We're talking art that are selling for thousands of dollars. So now Illmind, he created a sample pack. And what he's doing is he's created it with an NFT, which means that instead of selling 1,000 copies to 1,000 million people, he's going to sell one copy, the rights of this copy, to one person, to the highest bidder. So now when a person buys that sample pack, that one bidder, the highest bidder, they own that sample pack and the rights to it, and they can start reselling it to thousands of people themselves. And so that's the difference. That's the difference. So before we were selling sample packs to millions, now you can sell a sample pack to the rights of that sample pack to one person digitally, instantly, and it gets crazier than that. Beyond that, Illmind takes a 10% royalty fee on this pack.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So now, in addition to making a few stacks off the actual pack, he is now going to get 10% royalty off of that pack whenever it is sold again digitally. So it's automatic, 10% royalty, boom, automatic to an Ethereum address that he defines, and it gets automatically, anytime somebody buys it, boom, sent out. All the royalties get sent out instantly to everybody. And that's, of course, the promise of the blockchain and NFTs, is that one day we will have real amazing digital rights and copyright that is fulfilled like that on the blockchain, instead of through these huge bureaucratic companies. Because remember what Bitcoin does, right? It does finance what the internet did to media. So it's going to break up all these conglomerates that were before just sitting there for decades or centuries, that we needed them. Now we don't need them anymore with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
So now, as an artist, I can make an album and I can basically sell it straight to like Apple Music, or whoever, for example, and it's like, just pay me, and then I just and it'll just like automatically just kind of just boom, set your royalties up.
Yep. And this is all done on the blockchain with smart contracts that you create through a pretty user interface, essentially. That you say how many, what's the percentage, how many people, what's the Ethereum address, and then bam, you create that smart contract. And so there's some sites that are doing this, that are allowing you to do this. For example, the site that Illmind sold off of, anybody can do this. They're selling thousands and thousands of collectibles a day, from $1 to millions of dollars. And so anybody can do this because they have the websites and the user interfaces for you to be able to set this up.
So I saw this thing. It was saying something like the internet. There's a internet web. I don't know how to fucking describe this. It's like a blockchain internet or something like that.
Web 3.0.
No, it's just, no, like because I'm like seriously like completely confused about it. Like, so it was like basically it's saying like there's a like the internet's going on blockchain, like, and they're having like new like domain names for you. You remember the thing Bri was talking about, right? Like get your domain name before they sell it back to you or something like that.
So there's some domain name stuff that is interacting with the blockchain as well. So essentially what you can do now is you can have domain names that can never be shut down, because it actually lives on the blockchain. And you can have the same thing you did with that sample pack, you can do with the domain. And so you can own that domain now. Because when I own mobilemusicpro.com, I don't really own that. That's on GoDaddy.
Right.
GoDaddy owns that, really. Like they actually own it. But I can, of course, technically have legal rights to it, and I can transfer it anywhere I want and so forth. But still, like right now, That's GoDaddy's domain technically. So with NFTs and blockchain, you can actually now own your own domain on the protocol. Now, it's not really super big yet because there's not a big whole demand for people to actually own their domains. Like me personally, I mean, sure, it'd be nice, but I'm not going to go through hoops. I'm just going to go to GoDaddy and click buy. But eventually, that's the dream. That's the case, is that you'll be able to own everything. You'll be able to own the rights to everything you have. You own your own data, own the rights to your own music, own the rights to everything, and be able to be 100% in control of your entire financial world. And that's the promise of Bitcoin and blockchain. No more need for third parties. Now, there'll always be a PayPal or a Coinbase. There's always going to be somebody that's going to take the bread, in the middle, right? But the systems that will be evolving and being built over the next decade or two will push them out slowly but surely, little bit by little bit by little bit, just like the media slowly pushed out magazines, slowly pushed out newspaper, little bit by little bit by little bit. But eventually you're going to wake up one day and you're going to live in a world where Facebook is everywhere, right? Where the internet is everywhere. You're going to wake up in a world where Bitcoin is everywhere and everybody owns the rights to their own thing. You'll be able to buy stock in Cheez Da Producer. Like because you'll have your own data in your own data network and your own you'll own all your own everything. So if I want a piece of Cheez Da Producer, I'll be like, look, Cheez, look, let me give you some money, and I want 1% of everything that you do. And you could do that if you want. You could set that up. So that's the promise of this blockchain and Web 3.0 and a digital future with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Wow, it's fucking my head up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because even as you say it, like, I'm thinking about like this may like this to me, this seems like this could like it could like cure a problem, like how, like if you buy like a door or something, right, and you bought this digital item but you no longer want it, so now you can't use it anymore. So now it's like, now I can like sell the license to this person, and the company, as opposed to being like, no, you can't do that. Now they can just be like, yeah, you can you can definitely transfer the license and sell it. And this shit is this.
It'll all be digital. For example, like if I have a license to contact, I should be able to just zip that to anybody I want if I don't want it. And that's exactly what you're talking about. That's what blockchain is going to be able to do. Essentially, it anchors truth. That's why Bitcoin is so important, because remember, he who is the victor rewrites the truth, right? So essentially, like the history, like whoever wins, the history gets rewritten to their truth, right? Because that's how it has been. Now have an actual agreed upon global truth that gets updated every 10 minutes like a heartbeat around the planet. And that is Bitcoin. That's this global truth that now everybody can agree upon, and nobody can skirt anybody. So there's no more of this, this other guy said he needed 10% and I didn't know about it, and so he threw himself in the contract. No, it'll all be digital. All contracts will be digital on the blockchain, verifiable and accountable in real time. Gotcha. Literally to the point to where you can stream money in real time. And what that means, Cheez, I'm talking about like as somebody is playing your song on Spotify, you're receiving Bitcoin for that while they're playing.
Dope.
Streaming money. That's also a promise of the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So it's kind of like, being in the 90s where they're like, the information superhighway, you're going to be able to get all your movies. You're going to be able to get all your magazines. You're going to be able to do all this. You're going to be able to communicate with anybody in the world with a video. Just like, it's like the 90s. That shit came true. Like we're here now. So what's the next thing? Well, this is the next thing really is crypto. Bitcoin and crypto.
It's crazy because the same way you say it had those waves, that's the same way the 90s worked. Like, because everybody was crazy about it, but then it dipped. Because like there's like literally down the block from where I work at, there's this place where it was the first video, it was the first internet cafe. You know what I mean? Like, but it was before, it was way ahead of its time, and the shit failed, but then like years later you look back at it and it's like, damn, this was like, it was just too early, you know what I mean? So it was when all the hype was, but it, like you said, it corrects itself, and that's.
But here's the thing, Cheez. If you were invested in the underlying technologies, you wouldn't have to worry about the companies that are using those technologies that crashed. So for example, with Bitcoin, if a company like Coinbase goes down, Bitcoin doesn't care. Your money in Bitcoin is still good. So that means that if during some kind of crazy, .com crashed because the market and a lot of companies went out of business. But but for example, Amazon You could, Amazon didn't go anywhere. You could have bought Amazon stock, right? That Google and so forth, right? So people, so it actually, if you were invested in the underlying technologies, it doesn't actually matter where the market goes, because it's always going up over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though we have these corrections. So now with Bitcoin, it's so great because it's like literally owning a piece of the freaking internet. You are literally owning a piece of the internet of money, the system, and the rails that will power humanity for the next 10,000 years. You can own a piece of it and verify it right now anywhere on the planet without any third party. That's the revolutionary part right there. Like you can literally own a piece of the internet by buying Bitcoin, and that's owning a piece of Bitcoin. So it doesn't matter like what Coinbase does or what all these other companies do. If there's a crash in like the market with all these companies over time, Bitcoin's going to do all right.
So what you saying? So what you saying that because like I just just someone sent me like an invitation to Gemini, so like at the time I was like fuck it, like I think it's probably a good thing to do. So even with that, like because I was asking the person, I was like, what do you use for a wallet? And so even with Gemini, you're saying I should even like no matter what place I have it, like I should definitely still have the wallet, the physical wallet,
the hardware. Yeah. So at some point, once you reach a certain threshold of money and whatever risk appetite is for you, right? It's different for everybody. But once you reach a certain threshold of money that you think is a lot of money, definitely take that off. Okay. Because even if it's Gemini, just out of principle, being able to hold your own money that nobody can take from you, like that's just super powerful. So being able to hold that in your safe. So you should do it on principle, but really you should do it just in case there is an exchange that goes under, because so many exchanges have gone under in the past. That's why we now are supposed to have, I thought Coinbase was federally, but now Ms.LeD is saying, I don't know, but it's supposed to be.
If that article was 100% I don't know. Either, but it just opened. That was supposed, Gemini as well. Now that you bring that up, when I went to move my money over to the interest part where you just hold it there, they tell you got to sign your fucking rights away. They're telling you this shit could go. Yeah. We're not backing this shit, so that's a chance. I think on Coinbase the same thing. The minute you go to move your shit to collect interest, they tell you we can't insure this part. We're not responsible.
But not that part. But still, the regular part. They're going to insure like regular wallet before you put it in interest, right? If you don't put it in interest.
I don't know. That article said they wouldn't. So
that's the big thing. That's the big thing. Like Gemini and Coinbase, that's supposed to be the big thing, is that they're federally insured, so they can, that's how people like us who know about this stuff can recommend regular people to. Like that's the whole point of them being there, and is to be the retail, is to serve the retail market. So I'm pretty sure, I'm going to go out and say, I'm pretty sure both Gemini and Coinbase are federally insured for the main wallets for sure. But for example, for additional instruments like, lending and such, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, they definitely make it clear that you are on your own when you put that shit in there to collect interest.
But I tell you what, though, like I say, like people, when people start to learn about this stuff, about interest rates, about savings accounts and the yield that you can get from putting into Bitcoin, it's going to really change the world, because this is going to make a lot of people, regular people, a lot of money, and it really is going to allow people to. I like to say it's going to bring on a new golden age, essentially, because just imagine, when people are free from the tyranny of the central banks, like when they can do with what they want with their money and not have 90% of it taken away from interest rates, inflation, taxes, and companies and middlemen and so forth. So yeah, it's really going to cut and trim a lot of the fat. And we take the internet for granted of what it is today and the information that it can give you. But a lot of this stuff used to be locked behind walls, used to be locked behind paywalls, companies, pay gates, like everything you could think of, courses and whatever it was. This stuff, what the internet did is absolutely amazing. And Bitcoin is going to do this for finance and financial tools. So the average regular person will have all these financial instruments right there where, for example, right in their wallet, they'll be able to lend Bitcoin out if they want. Or right in their wallet to be able to do all these financial services that used to only be for, accredited investors and upper echelon type of people.
Yeah, I saw something somewhere where people were basically, they were talking about, number one, they were like basically trading Bitcoin, like almost like on
day trading
exchange, like, type of thing. Like basically,
I don't recommend that.
No, I'm just saying, like just how far it's going or whatever. Yeah. And also like where people were even, I think it's another one called, have you heard of BlockFi?
Yes. And they do lending as well.
Yeah, they were doing lending, and they were, it's like almost like they were like the same type of thing, like options, like basically some type. It was getting real deep.
There's options too right now on CME. Chicago.
Huh?
There's options. There's an option market right now in the CME. There's Mercantile Exchange over there in Chicago. You can trade Bitcoin options right now.
Wow.
There's futures. There's options. There's going to be crazy. There's even going to be something coming along the lines of. Let me say, what was it called? One second. This service was only available to like farmers before, but now miners are kind of like farmers, because essentially what the markets were created for is if a farmer has a bad crop, they can still get the money that they need because they've hedged it against in the market. But with miners, they need that too. For example, if they're mining all this equipment and the Bitcoin price dips a little bit, they might need some ability to hedge against that. So there's going to be markets coming up soon that miners will be able to, like, I think it's mining, basically miners futures, essentially mining futures. That's going to be coming eventually as well, because miners need to be able to hedge their bets just like farmers in the same type of fashion.
This is wild.
So there's going to be mining futures coming up. That's the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much opportunity to do all these things because everything is so new.
Yeah. No, this is crazy because it's just basically taking the system that was created and kind of putting it into everyone else's hands at the same time. You know, like, and that's and because you see people a lot. They like, some people are like, oh, you're gonna lose your money. It's crap. But then you hear, like, as soon as it hit the dip, those same people are like, well, this person just put this X amount of $1 million in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It's like
Elon Musk, it's Jack Dorsey, CEO. I mean, there's so many big names in it now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you know, Elon Musk literally just bought like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. With his corporate treasury. And remember, he didn't do that himself. Like I was saying earlier, he took his corporate treasury money from his company, SpaceX, and bought Bitcoin with that corporate treasury money. So now there's actual Bitcoin on the corporate treasury of the company.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And it is on the paper that is on that is literally legally a part of their assets. Bitcoin is now.
That's
so
crazy.
They took people, and that's going to continue. That's just started March of last year. That's going to just go like this over the next couple of years, because every company has got to have a part of their corporate treasury in Bitcoin, just like every person has to have a part of their savings in Bitcoin. You cannot keep stuff in cash anymore.
You literally told me all the information that people have been advertising to me on YouTube videos that I've been looking at like for the last month. It's like, this is the financial event you don't want to miss. You're gonna get poor. Don't
Where's
hit
your
the
effects?
like, you're going to be poor. Don't get this ad.
Hey, there was people saying that Amazon was a dumb idea too. You know, there was people that there's people that saying that Google wasn't gonna work. You know,
no. What I'm saying is they're like a ton of ads where basically they just
they make money trying to
just trying to sell you this
fear
information that you just basically said. It's just all stuff that's in the news that if you just dig deep enough, you'll get it, but you just may not understand like the long-term effects that it may have. So
and remember, the information that I'm dropping here is in paid rooms, is in, you know, where people pay hundreds to thousands of dollars. I had I have 50,000 followers following my Bitcoin Twitter account before I abandoned that for my music project. So like, you know, everybody from financial advisors to hedge fund managers to CEOs were following me just simply because I got so deep into Bitcoin over the past 10 years. And
man, you need to go get that page back. Stop playing.
No. That is historic. They're now sitting for historical purposes for all of my tweets and all my information that people can go back, and same with all my podcasts, my hundreds of podcasts, they're all up there.
Hey, you know, they say the rich stay rich because they don't spend no money.
Hey, that's what they say. It's true. That, and they have all their money in markets, making them money 24/7. But that too.
I just been digging into like what's this stuff to options that we were talking about before.
Yep.
And learning how people like they just make money with covered calls. Like
strikes and covers, man, all day long.
Like they're like, hey, I'm sort of selling this covered call, and like I saw this thing guy said, he said like, hey, just sell yourself sell a covered call about 5% above where you're at. So it'll never reach that price. And I'm like, no, you're absolutely fucking right. It'll never reach that price.
And then you just cash out every time it closes.
And they're like doing that, and then taking that money and then the money that comes off of it, like a guy said he's doing like a poor man and taking that and then using that to do poor man covered calls, and like it's like I'm like, dude, like this.
Dude, here's what's crazy. Are you ready for this, Cheese?
Huh?
Here's ready for this. Bitcoin is a cover call on the US dollar. Essentially. It's essentially a call on the entire US dollar and the entire US homogeneous financial system. That's what Bitcoin really is. When you buy, because you're buying it as insurance, essentially insurance against the current system. And it's essentially a call on the US dollar. Like you can sort of think, or a short, you can almost think of it like a short too, but I like to think of it more of like a pretty much like a call on the US dollar.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy.
Man.
It gets really crazy. I hate to bring it back to Bitcoin, but that's always that seems
No,
to happen.
yeah, sure.
I gotta find my book because I got a little book. I keep all my like I like keep all my like my finance stuff in, like, you know, just so like whenever I'm doing something, I'm like, yeah, I think I should write this down. It's like
Yes, sir.
my little journal. Like anytime
That's really a difference between like really like smart people and just your average person, is that smart people take notes. Keep journals and have to-do lists. Like
I can't remember all this shit.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't know how regular people do it without to-do lists. They just don't. Like they just, you know, they just go to their 9 to 5, I guess. But like, man, if I don't have my to-do list, dude,
I feel you.
I don't know what to do.
There's too much going on in life for all of this.
It really is.
You gotta take notes.
You can't remember. Oh man, when you're an entrepreneur, especially, like there's just so many things you got to do.
Yeah, especially now, like information comes at you so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had to take, like, this last week, I had to take like time off of Instagram just because like it's so much stuff and there's so much this and this and then like it just sucks because everything that you like search for on whatever other device you're on, they're giving you the ads for it on Instagram, and it's like, shit, man, can it be separate? You know what
it's crazy. I try to limit my social media to just the mornings. So in the mornings, I go through everything. So in the mornings, I'll go through all my Instagram, go through my Facebook, go through all that, the Facebook groups. So just pretty much do that all right away in the morning for about an hour, 2 tops, usually about an hour, and then just get that done for the day. And then I really don't touch it too much after that until the next morning. And I find that has increased my productivity pretty good.
That makes a lot of freaking sense because you get it out, you get your stuff out there, you know, early on.
I'm all sharp in the morning, you know, too. Like then at night, so I can like respond better. It just makes sense to me to just get all that stuff out of the way right away in the morning.
Maybe that's why everyone hates me. By the nighttime, my responses are horrible.
I love the food things you've been putting on IG though lately. They're making me so damn hungry, dude. Like, oh,
I get busy. Thank you.
I can't cook it all, so it's like a treasure to me.
That was some cabbage, some scramps, you know what I'm saying? A little sausage.
I can smell it, dude. I can smell it from here. I wanted it so bad.
It's busy. I get busy in the kitchen. Nah, but
over.
I can't cook it all. My wife cooks pretty good. She cooks a little bit, but we're not that big of cooks, really. We try to do our best and make some sandwiches and, you know, mashed potatoes and all that good stuff. But like, really, like, man, that stuff that you were cooking, that's what I want. That's what I gotta order. I order out for that. I have to order out for that pretty much.
Yeah, you gotta go to YouTube cooking channel, man.
I know, right? I should. There's just not enough time in the day. I don't know. But the cooking seems to be something that's important, but yet nobody I know can cook. And I really am ashamed of the amount of knowledge that's in my head that while cooking is not. Like, I literally have so many things up here, guys. You have no idea. So much freaking craziness, but yet I don't know how to cook. It's pretty sad.
Nah,
I think at some point.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Listen, I just happen to enjoy it. That's all. I enjoy it.
Until then, I'm just gonna keep following MsLeD and savoring at her, salivating out.
I'll send you some recipes. I'll send you some how-tos.
That'd be awesome.
Well, cool. Vortex, we appreciate you coming on and kicking some gems. You gave us some real good knowledge. We love what you're doing. Shout your social medias and your pages and everything.
For sure. Yeah, really appreciate you guys having coming on. As I said, I've been following you guys for years, so it really is a bit of a fanboy. I'm kind of fanboying out this entire time, but I still appreciate it and would love to come on, you know, anytime to talk about crypto and Bitcoin, just to answer any questions, because this is going to be with us for a while, and I'm sure you and your audience are going to have more questions. So definitely have me on for that for sure. And so I'll be more than happy to do that. But for my stuff, you can find everything I do at mobilemusicpro.com, and we just launched our very first commercial product, which is a paid sample pack called Genesis, which is a trap and drill sample pack. over 550 sounds in this thing. You know, we could have charged 30, 40, 50, $60. So we could have charged Cymatic prices all day long, but we wanted to really keep this in the iOS community, make sure that everybody, as many people as possible can take advantage of this. So we're making it actually only $20, and it's actually only $10 for the first week. We have 50% off sale for the first week. So there's a few more days on that if you want to grab that. That is a pretty awesome trap and drill sample pack. We had DJ Puzzle in the live stream, and he was complimenting it. So that was pretty high praise, I thought. If DJ Puzzle thought it was pretty good, I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, DJ Puzzle just said my pack was fire. So,
That's what's up.
I fanboyed out there too. I got to stop fanboy. But so I thought that was pretty awesome. But definitely, if you guys, if you are a sample-based producer, or if you do use samples in your production, would love for you to check it out, mobilemusicpro.com/Genesis, and see if it's something that you might enjoy. Other than that, we do always have free sample packs. We're always releasing free sample packs as well. So if your guys' wallet is a little bit light right now, no problem. We got some free ones for you to check out as well. And of course, we have the YouTube channel where we're always releasing videos there every week, trying to help people, trying to teach people how to produce music on their iOS device. And you can find that at youtube.com/mobilemusicpro, and just pretty much at Mobile Music Pro on every platform.
Dope.
Word.